So I love the meeting new people and networking and hearing what they're doing and how their journey has unfolded, and what they have to offer the world. So essentially showing the audience, everyone else, what other people's God-given talents are and their journey of how they got there.
Well, people have asked me why I do Networking Star. I'm like, no, I get to meet really cool people. How's that?
Yeah, you do.
We're so much better when we get to meet cool people. I mean, when I have a conversation with Lorayne is because of a podcast we've met.
Right.
You have all these friends on Instagram and all these friends on social media, but you never have any interaction between them.
Yeah.
And to me, it's opened up this world of just really cool people.
Yeah.
I even had somebody say to me, "What's your purpose? Are you going to make money with them?" I don't know. I've always found I make a lot of money when I meet cool people and interact with them. And
Yeah.
so I can see what you're saying. Hey, welcome to Networking Star Podcast. I am your host, Jeffery Boyle, and I am super excited today to be able to go through another great entrepreneur. Here on Networking Star, I interview some of the most innovative, interesting, and I guess just all around inspiring entrepreneurs that help us want to have, be, and do more. Today, I'm joined by Lorayne Michaels. She's a speaker, she's a coach, and she helps people break through their limitations to ignite their passion and discover their God-given purpose. She also has a podcast called the Bite Size Podcast. So Lorayne, thanks for joining me on Networking Star.
Hey, thanks for having me. I am excited to talk to you and hopefully bring some value to your audience.
I'm sure you will. I was reading through one of your posts that got a lot of reaction. It was just you jumping on a trampoline, and you're just talking. It was a picture of you, and you're just basically saying you're unapologetically you. This is you going forward and just feeling good about who you are. Tell me a little bit about that, because I think that's really important, not just to entrepreneurs, but a lot of people who go through different struggles to be able to really accept their lot in life and to be able to improve it.
Yeah, I absolutely love that post. It was just recent, the anniversary. It's actually my sobriety post. So this August was 3 years, and that post was just exactly what you said, authentically being me and really just laying it all out there of I am not perfect. By all means, I am not perfect. Am I better than where I was before? 100%. And it just is a beautiful journey that I have been on as far as growth and change and transformation, really, and what I've learned along the way. And like you had said, it really ignited my passion for helping others along their journey as well.
So that, I think, was 2 years of sobriety. So you're now past that.
Correct.
And so congratulations. But
Thank
you also talked about, really finding joy after broken marriages, after broken relationship, after difficulties and a lot of that. Explain just a little bit, if you will. I mean, I know it's something that you were passionate about and you continue to be, and finding your God-given purpose on that. Explain a little bit of that. You've got, everybody has these difficulties. Everybody runs through these different problems, but you talk about not just getting through them, but embracing them and then finding your God-given purpose as a result of them.
Yeah. It's a lot of like what I've been talking about this week, actually, on my social and on my podcast that I just released on Wednesday, about how turning pain into purpose. And for so long, I was stuck in it and stuck in the pain and stuck in the mistakes I made, stuck in the things that happened to me. And like you had said, using that as just a pivotal point in your life of one, healing through whatever pain and trauma that you've been through, but using it as a stepping stone and using it as a teaching moment, if you will, and just shifting your mindset and your perspective from that victim mentality. And I want to pause here, and I don't want to downplay anyone's pain or anyone's
Right.
trauma. Big T trauma, little T trauma, everyone has their own. And I'm not brushing it aside or saying that it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. But when you can get into that place of healing and transformation and learning to use that pain for a purpose and shifting your perspective, like I was saying, to it didn't happen to me, but it happened for me. And what
Right.
can I get from it? What can I learn from it? How can I grow from it? How can I change? That's really been my passion, really, is to help people discover that, because for so long I lived
Yeah.
in that hurt, and for so long I lived in that stuck victim mentality, and I was blocking God's blessing. I was blocking, what he was trying to do for me and teach me and show me. So I want everyone to be able to experience that freedom.
Well, I think that there's a couple key things that you said right there. You talked about victim mentality. It's interesting, and when you try to capture that on an Instagram reel, I've been roasted a couple times, and people saying, "You don't know me. You don't know what I've been going through. You don't know the problems I've had. Who the heck are you?" And I think,
Yeah.
well, and I always try, of course, to reply to them. There is a victim mentality, though,
Mhm.
and I don't think there's an issue with talking about it. But in order to improve, I think you have to accept your mortality, right? You have to accept that you're going to screw up. But I think the difference, especially with that post that's meant a lot to you, is you to get sober. You had to accept the fact that you had to get sober, right?
Mhm.
That it was your responsibility in order to be able to make the changes in your
Mhm.
life. And so I think that's kind of the difference. There is a lot of people going through pain. There's a lot of people that have problems. I mean, we all do. That's
Yeah.
the human experience, I suppose. But I think that's what was fun to me about that post is you have this adult that is jumping on trampoline, just saying, "Hey, I'm back. I'm imperfect, and I'm here to make things better."
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your bite-sized podcast. I went through some of those, but you're going to explain it much better than I. How does that help you with your journey of just going out and spreading this message of fulfilling your God-given purpose?
Yeah. So the name, it's kind of a twofold thing, the bite-sized
Uh,
podcast. Like I'm a little person. I'm only 5'1". And so people have always joked like, "Oh, you're fun size," like, so that was kind of like one side of it. The bite size is because I'm tiny. But also I wanted to keep it short and sweet and punchy. Granted, there's long episodes that I absolutely love, but I
right,
wanted to make it to where people can listen anytime or watch if they will on YouTube. So that's kind of like the bite size. I'm trying to keep it bite size for you. Um, but it started with me just doing the solo episodes and really talking about my coaching packages. And
uh,
I started it because I wanted people to be able to go somewhere to get to know me a little bit more, because Instagram, Facebook, you're limited to a certain amount of time. Reels are only for so long, and when people are on there, they're just scrolling. So I really wanted to give people an opportunity to really learn more about me and what I have to offer and how I can help you. And then I got to a point where I was like, well, I really want to have conversations because I love the face to face and I love going back and forth. And I want to show other people, my audience and listeners, how other people have done it and what other people are doing, because not everybody wants to be a coach or a speaker.
right.
So I love the meeting new people and networking and hearing what they're doing and how their journey has unfolded, and what they have to offer the world. So essentially showing the audience, everyone else, what other people's God-given talents are and their journey of how they got there.
Well, people have asked me why I do Networking Star. I'm like, no, no, I get to meet really cool people. How's that?
Yeah, you do.
We're so much better when we get to meet cool people. I mean, when else when I have a conversation with Lorayne is because of a podcast we met.
Right.
You have all these friends on Instagram and all these friends on social media, but you never have any interaction between them.
Yeah.
And to me, it's opened up this world of just really cool people. I
Yeah.
even had somebody say to me, "What's your purpose? Are you going to make money with them?" I don't know. I've always found I make a lot of money when I meet cool people and interact with them. And
Yeah.
so I can see what you're saying. You get to meet cool people with it. You had a post on there about Anthony Trucks and the dark work. And
Yeah.
I've had Anthony on here just recently, and he's super
Really?
inspiring.
Oh, I
And,
love
he just
him.
kind of goes through just the ups and the downs and just the impossible situation that he went
Yeah.
through. And
Yeah.
I'll kind of, I don't bring that up to put the concentration on him. This is about you and your story. But he had a lot of time growing up. If you study, some of what he said, he
Mm.
grew up with a terrible childhood,
Mm.
and if there's anybody that could have been forced into this woe is me attitude, it really could have been him. And I liked what you posted on that, which is do the work. Explain
Hmm.
a little bit about how he inspired you, and how when it's dark and nobody's watching, I think your exact words, so people do the work. I probably misquoted you, but talk a little bit about that, and
Yeah.
how it is that you are inspired by the different people you follow and the different people that have been on your show.
Yeah. Oh man, I had the amazing opportunity of hearing him at Ken Joslin's Create conference in Atlanta in January. And he is just so incredible. His story, like you mentioned, is just so incredible. This man faced adversity
Everything.
hard. Yes. I mean, you name it, like being adopted and growing up in an interracial family
Yeah.
and just so much adversity. And this man turned it around. And granted, it wasn't once he got into his profession, everything was all, butterflies and rainbows. Like he went through it in his adult life too.
Yeah.
Um, and just his tenacity and resilience was so inspiring. And he touched on the dark work about how when you're in it and you're learning and you're grinding and you're putting in all this work that nobody sees, you
Right.
know um it's like a farmer, if you will. He cultivates and prepares the soil and plants the seeds and does all this work, and there's nothing to show for it until the right time, until the harvest. So something that I really got from it was doing the work when nobody's watching, not because you're doing the work to get the accolades and the credit. You're doing the work because that's what you're created to do. Like that's your passion, your desire. And one of the things that he says was, don't let anyone take the light from you, what you prepared in the dark. I'm sure I'm messing that up
Yeah.
too. But essentially, like, you worked for this. You hustled and you did what you had to do. You put in the time, the effort, investing in yourself, whatever that may be, whether it's hiring a coach or continuing education or reading the books, the late nights, writing whatever it is, your book. And then you have your time, you
Right.
know, and at the
And
perfect
that's when
time, at
everybody
the
think
right
it's all
time.
of a sudden you're an overnight sensation when you've put
Yeah.
all this work behind you too,
Yeah.
with your personal physical journey. You can tell that
Mhm.
the physical journey with you is super important, and you've been
Yeah.
documenting that, how it is that you have made a tremendous physical transformation.
Yeah.
Um, how do you? I am a personal trainer. Went to law school to become a personal trainer, to never train people, but really friends who asked for it, so I could do podcasts and then help people with their marketing. That's an
Yeah.
interesting journey. But I believe I love to look at the inspirational messages of how people transform their bodies.
Hmm.
And what is the direct correlation for you between the confidence that you received in watching your body transform to be able to then help other people with their transformations, whether that be mental, physical, or even spiritual?
Mm. I would say the dedication. The You
Yeah.
need to have a level of dedication and determination, because motivation that's not gonna last. You're gonna be motivated to stick to your diet one day, and then the next day you're gonna be like, that cake looks good, and your motivation's out the window. So motivation's gonna go. It's the dedication. So I competed all in bodybuilding for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
And that in and of itself is incredibly challenging mentally, not only physically, but I think more so mentally than anything.
And what is it
Um,
that for the bodybuilding? Is it there being in front of people? Is it just the daily grind of having to perfect different parts that are imperfect? What is the mental
mhm.
part that you're talking about with that?
That's a really good question. It's both,
Uh-huh.
because for one, it that changed for me. So in the beginning of it, it was the mental aspect of what you said, like trying to get parts to look different and train. You know, I entered in a bikini competition at first, but I build muscle really easy. So then I
Mhm.
moved to figure, which is more muscle. So that in and of itself is totally a mental block and challenge, if you will, because when you're a bikini competitor, you have to look a certain way. When you're a figure competitor, you have to look another certain way, and they're completely different.
Yeah.
Work equally just as hard, but you do have to have that mental capacity of being able to realize that um, you're trying to transform your body and you have to eat a certain way, exercise a certain way to look
Yeah.
a certain way. Um, but you also have to have that mental capacity and strength to know your limits, to
Yeah.
know that stage ready is not everyday life.
Oh
You
yeah, it's
cannot
brutal.
you
It's the kind of
cannot look
thing.
like that.
It's the kind of thing that for a long time I kept my fat percentage so low. Started realizing, man, I am miserable.
Yeah.
And so it's the kind of thing. And it wasn't. I got to the point where I didn't crave anything. I got to the point where that wasn't the issue. But it takes a physical toll on your body to have the
Mhm.
fat percentage so low. And
Yeah.
so, but the body is miraculous, though. It's just miraculous that it's one of those, almost one of the only things about us that if you can predict very, very closely once you understand your body
Yeah.
on keeping your fat percentages a certain level, increasing strength in this. So I'll get back to that original question before I diverted you. How does that help you as a coach to determine? Same thing with your business. Business
Mhm.
may be a little bit more difficult to predict, but how does that success physically translate into helping people have the confidence to have success mentally and spiritually?
So again, with the dedication and the determination, you need to figure out what it is that you're wanting, your end goal, your end result. What is that goal you're after, whether it be in business, entrepreneurship, or spiritually? Like, what is the end goal that you're after, that you're trying
Right.
to accomplish? And you have to realize that. Again, the motivation is not going to always be there. So you
Yeah.
have to build the routine. You have to build the resiliency. You have to build the dedication to show up when you don't want to show up. And that's in all aspects, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of it. So it's building that routine and the dedication.
I think when you meet famous people, successful people, or even a person that's not very well known that's just made it work, right? That has, I think a lot of times some of the most successful people are people that you don't know or you've never heard of because they're successful in all areas of your life, mental, physical, spiritual. They've got a great family. They've got great amount of money. They may not drive a Lamborghini, but they've got a great home. They've got all these great things but you're absolutely right. The more of these people that you meet, the more you see it is about the grind. It's
Mm-hmm.
about making sure that you show up, as you just said, even when you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Those are the disciplined people. And you've talked about the meditate or the motivation as well that you lose it. One of the things that you talk about is igniting passion.
Mm-hmm.
Explain the difference to me of that motivation, which can fade, and having that long term passion for something.
So, what I think of how that fades, like the motivation fades, it's like you're chase. They call it the hedonic treadmill.
Uh huh.
It's you're always chasing after the next best thing. So
Right.
the job promotion, the car, the material thing that you're wanting, and then when you get it, it fades. The newness fades, the excitement fades. Um, but when you have that intrinsic motivation, you have what's coming from within, That's
Yeah.
where your passion is. That's where you're figuring out what lights your soul on fire. So for instance, I was in medicine for 15 years. That lit me up. I absolutely loved it. I loved the ICU, trauma ICU,
Huh.
the emergency department. Like, it lit me up. And then 2020 happened. And then, everything all went to hell. But
I don't think just medicine went to hell. I think let's make the list of all the things that changed in 2020.
yeah, exactly. So what was my passion? What really lit me up? Totally changed for me.
Uh-huh.
And that's a whole nother podcast in and of itself. But what ultimately, what I thought was my passion was helping people, right? And helping, being the advocate for people. So I love helping people that are in a place where they don't know what to do. They're kind of feeling stuck. So that in medicine was working for me. And then when all that happened, I started to realize that that's really not my passion. My passion is speaking life into people. My passion is
Okay.
encouraging people, right? My passion is bringing that out of them, like when you're feeling stuck and not sure what to do in the next step, or what am I really passionate about, bringing that out of them, helping them discover that, and helping them those next steps of what do you got to do to get there, helping them line out the next steps, right? So I
So
hope that answered the
what did
question.
you do in the ICU then? And now you got me curious. What did you do?
I was a nursing assistant. So
Okay.
I have my EMT license. So think of an EMT basically, but in the hospital. That's what I did.
I
I
got
loved it.
I was run over by a car on my motorcycle, I think
Oof.
2013, and I was filming the whole thing, the surgery, until the doctor finally turned up the sauce to knock me out. And if you'll humor me for just a second, I had this wonderful gal that was cleaning out this giant leg wound that I had from the accident. And she was so patient. She was so wonderful. But I can see what you're talking about. And though she probably saved my leg with modern medicine and all of what they did, um, I have been benefited far more long term by the mentors and coaches and the people that helped me understand how to achieve the success. And though I'm really glad I still have my leg, I can see what you're saying, that how you made that transition and found a new purpose that way.
Yeah. It was not what I expected. Like, I thought
Yeah.
I was going to live, breathe, and die in the hospital, but
Yeah.
I couldn't be more grateful for where I'm at now, and how the opportunities that I'm getting and who I get to meet and talk to and encourage. Much better.
So who ignites your passion then, as you talk about that, as far as, the people that inspire you? Give me an example of somebody, what they said. You don't need to tell the person exactly who the person was exactly, but what is it that helps ignite your passion to be able to go forward?
Mm. I love hearing stories of adversity into
Uh-huh.
triumph.
I agree. Yeah.
I love hearing, because you can see a successful person that was born, into wealth, and they've just had it
Not very
easy.
inspiring.
No, not at all. You're like, what do you know?
Just to win the DNA lottery, that doesn't do much
Yeah.
for us. But I think you're right that
Yeah.
overcoming adversity is huge.
Yes. The people that have just changed their life for the better, and they're not holding that hostage. They're not keeping that to themselves and like, nope, I'm going to win on my own.
Yeah.
They're wanting to share their knowledge and how they did it, and encouraging others how they can do it too. That really fires me up, and I resonate so well with those people.
You're into sports, obviously, with what you did with bodybuilding. Have you read have you read the book Relentless or Winning? They were both written by, his name was Tim Carver. He is the personal trainer for Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Have you heard of either of those books?
I think I've heard of Relentless. I have not read them though. But who's it by?
I believe it's Tim Carver, and but
Okay.
you just have to look up Winning or
Yeah.
Relentless. And
Okay.
he's saying exactly the same thing as you. Is I used to think that Michael Jordan had a pact with Satan. It's the only way that he could have won that many games, right? It's like, how did he make that many shots? And that's a really easy cop out for me to say that. What the secret was is the guy never stopped relentlessly with all of his passion and all of his heart and soul to make that shot, and was willing then to fail in order to hit that shot. And Kobe Bryant was the same way. And I agree with you. I think that for me, there's nothing better than to listen to some of these icons and how much they failed before they got what they wanted.
Yeah. Something that John Maxwell says that I absolutely love is when someone says, like, I want what you want, or I want what you have. I want the life that you have. I want to be where you are.
Yeah.
And he says, okay, but are you willing to do what I did?
Yeah.
Are you willing to do the work that you didn't know about? Like what Anthony Truck says, the dark work.
Yeah.
You got to do the dark work in order to get there. It doesn't just happen.
Well, and I'm also, by the way, doubting Tim's last name on this, but either way, you look it up and you'll find him. But the thing is that I've been told that the best mentors, and I would agree with this, are people that are that have been where you are right now, but you want to be where they are. So, you're right. Are you willing to fail as much as John Maxwell? John Maxwell is a household name now within leadership and self-improvement. But what we don't know is how much failure he went through to get there. And I think during COVID, we bring that up a little bit. I read so many biographies. I read the stories of the guys getting caught in Antarctica and having to eat their dogs to get out. And you think, why would you read that? It's like, man, that is the story of overcoming, right? If you can if you can walk out of Antarctica, you can do just about anything. And I think it's these stories of impossible odds that are made possible through a person. And I like that. Tell me just a little bit, what is your God-given purpose?
Oh my goodness. What I'm doing to empower and encourage, others to step into their gifting, to bring their gift to the world, because God didn't gift us with our gifts and talents not to bring it to the world. Like it's our mission, it's our duty to serve the world with what we have, to make it better. We're the body of Christ. We're all supposed to have our own unique gifts, talents, and we're all in a perfect world, right? It would all work cohesively, but if more people would get on board and more people would realize that they have so much within them, they possess it, and they have such a gift, and there's a divine purpose for their life. I wish more people would know that and realize that and walk in that.
Well, you just got your work cut out for you. You just got to let them know,
right? Yeah, I got a lot of people to talk to.
I think we all do, and I think that's probably why I like talking to people like you. That's why I like having guests like you. And what's my purpose in the show? I don't know, to meet cool people like Lorayne. I mean, that's got to be the reason, right?
Right. Yeah, just connecting.
Lorayne, thank you for being on Networking Star. Will you tell people where to find you?
Absolutely. You can find me most easily on Instagram. And that's my name. So it's Lorayne_Michaels. And in there on my profile, you can find links to everything you would possibly want to find me other places also.
Help breakthroughs, ignite passion, and discover their God-given gifts. Thanks for being with me, Lorayne.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it.